It has been a nail-biting and exciting championship so far in the International Sim Drivers Association Winter Season GT3 Challenge, and we near its end in one of the best possible places. It's the penultimate round of the season. My name is Eikesky, and we are here at Laguna Seca on the west coast of America. What an exhilarating roller coaster ride we have in store for you today. The drivers, as you can see, are just leaving the pit lane to start their warm-up laps. Plenty of action to come. I think that is actually an Aston Martin that's leaving the pits at the moment. Let's get on the ground and see what the state of play is. That is 228 BMW Vucek in the BMW there. First of all, we have a great guest for you to start the live stream. As always, YouTube chat, I am with you from start to finish. So feel free to get involved and let your feelings be known on everything that's going on the track tonight. Andrei Kuchar, our safety car driver, is taking a moment off. I don't think you're quite needed yet out on track. So, Andre, how is it being the pace setter when we call full course caution, or when the race director calls full course caution? How much pressure do you feel? You're in a GT4 Audi, so much less performance. You don't really need to keep up a pace, or do you? Let me know, how is it being in front of this stampeding pack of GT3 cars in that little Audi?
Good evening, Ike. Well, it's not that hard actually, because I don't have to push, so there is no. There is less probability that I will crash. But yes, it's a GT4 car. It's on cold tires when the safety car needs to go out. But we usually set a speed limit that we need to keep on the track, and then it's just about taking the corners as quickly as possible and keeping it under the speed limit on the straights. So it's not that hard, but yeah, it's sometimes the drivers themselves will shout out that safety car could go a little bit faster. I think that happened on Mount Panorama. Some of the drivers actually spoke out. But yeah, it's not that difficult, and it feels how would I describe it? It feels like I'm keeping it up, like they want me to go away.
Yes. No, well, in fairness, that is the entire point of the safety car in these conditions, is to slow the whole pack down to the point that any incidents that have occurred on the track can be cleared in a safe manner, be that the drivers having to limp their cars back to the pit lane, or just in real life it's the marshals, but in sim racing it's race control. It's the drivers themselves that have to sort themselves out. So sometimes it can be easier, and other times it can be a lot more difficult to get those cars back to the pit lane. So you're doing a grand job, to quote the Irish, but yeah, it's a very, very critical job. I'm glad you don't feel the pressure. I know if I was stuck in front of a pack like that, I would feel the worst pressure. I really would. But how has the season been from your perspective? It must be very difficult to sit on the sidelines at your sim rig with the opportunity to go driving, but at the same time you kind of don't want to go driving, do you? You hope that you're never going to get the opportunity to do it.
Yes, in a safety car I hope I don't have to go out, but yeah, it's exciting when I have to.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not that difficult for me. I like it. I like doing this, what I'm doing right now. I missed the driving a bit, but that's why we created the short season, so we can race as well. So yeah, it's of course I'm secretly hoping not to have to drive, but I I secretly want to drive.
Well, we'll have to have words with management, see if we can get the safety car to set laps in qualifying as well, just to really put the cat amongst the pigeons. I don't think you'll be outpacing any of the GT3 cars tonight, but hopefully, in the very nicest way possible, we aren't in need of your services tonight, Andre.
Exactly.
But thank you for dropping in. Really appreciate it. We're coming down to the end of the season now, so will you... are you the designated safety car driver now, or are we still looking at potentially having other members of the staff be having that duty?
I'm actually stand-in for the safety car driver. Usually it's Alex Torregrosa who is driving the safety car, but he couldn't today.
Yep.
So I just hopped in and took it over for today's race.
Awesome.
I don't know if he will be able to drive it in the last race. We will see.
Well, we'll soon see. And if that's the case, then we'll have to get Alex in and have a word with him about the how he feels when it comes to those responsibilities. Andre, thank you very much for jumping in the opening stage of this qualifying session. Have a lovely race, and please pass our regards on to the rest of race control.
Sure. Thank you for having me, and have a good race as well.
You too, mate. Go on.
Bye-bye.
So, it is a massive responsibility for Andre there to be stuck in that bright yellow Audi. Number 900 sat in the pits there, as you can see. Hopefully we won't be seeing any of him tonight, but there is a big possibility, especially with the dangers around the Corkscrew, that it might actually occur. I'm not wishing anything on anyone at the moment, just saying how it is, unfortunately. But how are we looking? Just under halfway through the qualifying session. Porsches lead the way, first, second and fourth. Philippe Borovets in the Pirate Racing 22 car, leading the way from Andy Brooker in the 130. If that man keeps his position where he is at the moment, I can imagine he's going to give a very, very animated interview come the end of the race. Igor Krisnich is the first in of the different marks in an M4 GT3. A lot of BMW M4s in this field tonight. It's almost as if perhaps they're a little bit out of balance at the moment. But apparently the M4 GT3 is a very, very good piece of machinery. Miksik in the second Pirate Racing Porsche. Number 96 is in fourth for the time being. And behind him is the first of the AM cars, Jokic, really outperforming the rest of his class in a Mercedes, in a BMW M4 GT3 car. Behind them is Matthias Mex with Nida Zak. Behind him, D'Acusa, Bellato, Doyle, Vucek, Miljevic, Tonzatic, Zivkovic, Dunster, and I can put my teeth back in, rounds out the rest of your field. A little bit down on cars this week, unfortunately, but have no fear, I'm pretty sure these Porsches, as Miksik goes to third, Porsches lead the way, and I'm sure they will have the biggest battle. The sun going down is 10 past 8 out in the west coast of America, and lots left to talk about. Interesting that Andy stayed out so long. I'm not complaining. It's given us lots to see. Miksik, however, is going faster. I don't think he's been in the pits recently, so this is going to be a representative lap time. Oh, that's going to lose him some time, though. Pushes a little bit too hard into turn 6 and loses it all up the hill. Tell you what, let's jump on with Mex as he comes into turn 1. We'll jump on board with the Mercedes driver. The Andretti hairpin, big kicker oversteer, and steering into the slide so that he can keep the power down through turn 2 and out wide through turn 3. No headlights yet, which is strange. I would have imagined there would be headlights coming out the front of that Mercedes. Back on the throttle and on the brakes, use the number 2 on the right hand side as your brake marker. The banked corner helps. You can take a number of lines through that turn 5 and up to turn 6 where we saw just now under the bridge. Look for your turn-in point. It is as soon as you see that curb on the inside, and on the throttle as soon as you can. Lose speed on the entry if you can to gain speed on the exit. Now up towards the edge of the world, the corkscrew on the brakes as late as you can, and fall. You pray that the ground is going to catch you. Back on the throttle, no time to think about it. Back down the hill through turn 10 and 11. The right-hand bank kink. Plenty of action being seen there through the years. And the final hairpin at turn 11. I'm pretty sure I'm doing this off memory now to complete the lap. A mighty, mighty fast lap in these GT3 cars. 8 minutes remaining, and that will not improve Mathieu Mek's time for the moment, but he absolutely doesn't need it. Currently has a cushion of 5 cars between himself and the next AM car, who is going faster. However, Krisnich is looking to put pressure on Miksic in the 96 car. It's not enough at the moment, but he gets massive drive out of the final hairpin. This could get him close. He comes across the line, only 5/10, so only 2/10 separating now the gap between third and fourth, and the first of those non-Porsches. Lexus in the form of Dennis Bellato coming up towards the corkscrew. There we go. Very reminiscent of Australia and Bathurst and the Dipper as you fall off the edge of the world over sunset. Excellent, excellent tracks being depicted here in ACC. Through the final corner, he is going significantly quicker than he's gone before. This is going to be a boon of performance for Dennis Bellato in the ML Frey Lexus. Across the line he comes. Where is that going to put him? All the way up to 5th position. That is just on the 3rd row of the grid for that Lexus. That's an extraordinary performance for what is a fairly old car. David Dunster as well in the Pirate Racing Academy number 4 car into the final corner is going quicker than he has before. It might not be enough to get him any further positions up the road at the moment, but the tyres will now be warm and he will be able to hit the track properly. Mathieu Meks in the 7th place Mercedes has a lot to prove at the moment. He's got performance in hand that will get him to the back of the 14 Lexus, so perhaps... Oh, he went very wide. That was very brave on the AstroTurf on the outside of turn 6 up towards the corkscrew. Can the big engine at the front of the Mercedes drag it through any quicker? He has lost time coming up the hill. He must have got an extraordinary drive before, but is still potentially deposing that AM car of Dejan Jokic. It's Dejan, isn't it? Yes, who has spun. We will look away from that for a moment. He's gained all that back as Meks. He is 2/10 up on his previous time. He comes across the line, and where is that going to put him? 5th. So the Lexus gets deposed for the moment. Lopez, yes, there's fewer cars in tonight, which is quite unfortunate because of all the tracks that having a lot of traffic makes up, or makes for some fun. And that is Doyle. Doyle has come across the line. Aidan Doyle for the Circus Freaks 85. Yes, I can't believe that there are fewer cars wanting to take on the challenge of Laguna Seca as Doyle gets it all wrong on the sausage curb on the inside. That was, I think, the 22 car that had to take... No, it wasn't. That would have been Miksic. The 96, yes, that had to take evasive action for the BMW spinning on the inside. All of the times are going crazy at the moment. People are trying to get their fastest laps, and they're losing time hand over fist trying to wring out performance that is not there in the cars. Miljevic in another Mercedes number 7 car is going to run super wide. That's not going to help as we come down to 4 minutes. There's enough time to get a run back in. Neither Zach 2 is on a good run coming through the turn 6. Kink is going to keep it well on the black stuff this time. That's what you need to get the traction up the hill. He'll lose time compared to his previous best, but he's still up. Plenty of performance left in that black BMW. Gorgeous, gorgeous looking car in that black colour. Lets you ignore the bottom half of that front grille. Sounds good as well. Not as good as that Jaguar in front. Ooh, that's an Emil Frey Jaguar. Who is driving that? Zivkovic that is driving that. Let's follow Zach across the line. He's 10th up, but will stay in 9th for the time being. That is an Emil Frey, one of the old Jaguars from back in the day, in the hands of Radoslav Zivkovic, who is trying to push the performance a little bit too far, perhaps. Bit unfair to be pushing that hard. Yes, totally agree. Brooker is booking it, to make a very, very bad pun. Mex is trying to fight back at the BMWs, though. He is very, very quick, has had the draft of the cars behind on this lap. The Mercedes not relying quite so much on the aero as some of the other cars. Noteworthy in its absence is that Ferrari 488 GT3 car, which I am shocked to see. Ooh, the 886 lost a bit of traction there. Is that enough to lose? Yes, that is enough to lose. The advantage that he had, that's not a problem. He's got enough time for another lap. 2 at an absolute push. So perhaps the Mercedes can make a dive for a few more positions. But who else is going faster around the track? Wuchek in the 2nd place. Amcar is on a flyer. He was on a flyer, but well and truly lost it through that final corner. I wonder if this is not an out lap. So this is a legitimate lap that he is on at the moment. But unfortunately, he lost so much time. That BMW really is very, very, very quick, and it looks as though it has the balance to appeal to the AM drivers. Lots of performance left in Mundek's setup as well, it seems. He's got a lot of pace. He's just got to stitch all the corners together and keep it under control, and perhaps a notch more of traction control just to keep the rear end in check. Mattia Mex comes down to the final corner. He is within a hope of being able to depose Doyle from that 5th position. He's going to get close. He's going to take it. He's going to take it by a 100th of a second or so. Very, very impressive and very tight in all of these laps being set. Krisnic now in number 3 car. That is Mex done for the day. But Krisnic is going faster. He could depose the 96 car. But that is a pipe dream at the moment as he comes up through turn 6 up to the climb up the hill. BMW is going to be super strong in this area of the track. He gets over the curb on the outside. Is that going to disrupt his braking? He gets it slowed. Does the number 3 car. He is significantly quick. Oh my goodness. He could take second. At this pace, he could take second. There is a big opportunity here. It's going to be his final lap, and my goodness, Krasnić is making it count into the final corner. He loses out on the exit, but tries desperately to grab for grip down to the checkered flag and is going to miss out. He was another 3/10 up in that final lap, and he lost it all in the final corner. That is heartbreaking for the number 3 driver. Who else is out on track? Borovets, as if he needs to prove a point, is going to come out and go even faster with a 121.525 just to really put his stamp on the lead. I don't know if he felt pressured by Andy Brooker in that 130 car, but it was no need in the end as the 96 is coming down to the final corner. It would be good for Miksic to be able to depose the incumbent second place, but that is not how it's going to end. That is going to be the end of qualifying. Philippe Borovets will lead away from the head of the field, and it will be, let me just very quickly, they've changed the controls. There we go. So, our usual affair for the start of this penultimate round of the championship. Let's go, Andy Brooker in the YouTube chat. Philippe Borovets leads the way. Andy Brooker alongside in that 130 Porsche is an incredible qualifying start, and we'll be eager to see what he can do from the upper end of the grid. Miksic in third rounds out the Porsches at the head of the field. Krasnić with that number 3 car so close, and there may be some real speed in that M4. The 886 Mercedes of Mex will start in 5th with Doyle alongside in another BMW. Bellato in the Lexus RCF eventually got pushed down as far as 7th, with Jokic leading the way in the M4 GT3 car. Nidazak will hope to depose him very, very quickly in that 9th position. Miljevic will be behind the M-Class leader, and this is going to be a fight to be wary of through the course of the race. The 80 car of D'Couza in the Nissan GT3 car, number 80, will start in 11th. Wucek will start in 3rd position in AM. Tosnasic in 4th. Zivkovic in 5th. Dunster in 6th. And rounding out Porsche's top and tail the grid. And we have a couple of minutes to appreciate the silence as the rest of the field prepares to set their settings up, make sure the fuel is on board. We have an hour of racing and 50 seconds to prepare. It doesn't really seem fair, does it? But we have a warm-up lap as well to be able to appreciate these incredible cars. Just a very, very quick test. I want to see how well, if at all, this is working. We have, for the first time in a while, a second camera, which you can see the mouse capture for some reason. There we go. So this is your second camera, controlled by another member of the crew, and they will be... Why are you doing that? And this is what we're here for. The safety car will go to the pits. The warm-up lap will begin as all of the notes rise. We will take a brief reprieve from this to appreciate our sponsor, SRP. Just a moment. Thank you very much for SRP for sponsoring the series. So, what else do we have to look forward to? We are, as I've already said, in the penultimate round of the championship. You have missed Silverstone, Snetterton, Spa-Francorchamps. I didn't miss that one. Barcelona, Monza and Hungaroring, all action-packed from start to finish. Laguna Seca is the penultimate round where we are now, and going to one of the homes of ISDA for one of our local crew at Kailami. This is the ISDA GT3 Winter Challenge, and we have plenty of action left for you this evening. Listen to the engines roar as they get their tyres and brakes warmed up for what is going to be a tightly fought start of the race. As they line up 2 by 2 for the penultimate time. Let's do this. The helicam is the way to go. Plenty of drama to be had. It looks as though we've lost. No, Nida Zak has been promoted, which is interesting. We wait for the segment at the top of the screen to go green, and we are racing for an hour of Laguna Seca with ISDA. Down into the first corner, the red BMW. Who is that? Oh, there's already been contact in the AM class. That looks like through turn 1 we were okay, but that was a chaotic start to the race already. Who is that that has been pushed out of the track? They're going to be a little bit further back. So it's Dunster that got... Nope, that's... I saw someone have a massive accident, but they must have gathered it all up. Dunster appears to have... He's flashing for a reason. I can't see what's going on there. Head of the field, meanwhile, it is Porsche versus Porsche. The 130 car has lost out in the scramble towards turn 1. But how can the rest of the field cope? Let's get down to ground level and really appreciate the action as it unfolds. BMW 85 Vaden Doyle pressuring the 886 Mercedes. That is going to be a lot of pressure for Mercedes to have to live up to. We know how fast those BMWs are. As Dakusa... Oh, that's... Ooh, we now get a purple segment for the fastest lap time. This is how long it's been since I commentated in ACC. I appreciate that overlay. That's really quite nice. Nida Zak is in position. And we have a replay of the start. Let's see what caused that the collision in... Well, even before we got to the first corner. It's the 74 car of Jokic leading the AM class. I did say it was in the AM class. What has happened there? Oh, pushed Nida Zak it was to the inside. Oh, pretty much an accident of his own making, I must admit there, Jokic. Pushed the 89 car. No reason to defend against the 89 car when they're in a completely different class. That's really frustrating for him, but he did get back out onto the track and driving and didn't even lose out to Dunster in the end. Let's see what race control dictates on that one. I'm sure we will get some kind of feedback. I don't think... Yeah, I don't think we can really say that Jokic was innocent in all of that. He pushed Zach out onto the infield on the inside there, past that white line. You're not supposed to be going there. And if
this is race control, lap 1, turn 1 incidents under review. Over.
So they are going to be investigating. I am a simple plebeian when it comes to these sorts of matters. I don't think that Zach can be held accountable for that one. He was pushed across on the inside. He had every right to be there, and he's in a different class. So in reality, there's no reason for the 74 car to be pushing him to the inside. It would be better to just let him go. It doesn't look to me as though it was all that bad. Fights. Where are the fights? Doyle in the 85 still hunting down the 86 Mercedes. Dijan Jokic is very, very close to the back of Miljevic. Has lots of work to do, but we know that 74 BMW was at least fast when it was clean. But there is definitely some damage to be repaired at some point. Has a look to the inside of the number 7 car, but it's not going to happen this time around. I dare say there is some major speed being lost, and Tonsatic has lost out, or no, Bellato is the man who has lost out somewhere, dropped way, way down off the Pro Pack. Jokic goes up the inside, is going to force the number 7 car out wide. You see, that's a position where you kind of have an opportunity to say this line is mine. When you have the car, when the car is like in line with your rear wheel, you can kind of. I still don't agree with forcing people off the road. Lots of strategy yet left to be played out, though, across the 10-minute mark against of the centre of this race. There will be a mandatory pit stop. I'm sure Jokic will be gasping to get to that pit box as soon as he can. A wiggle of oversteer as that car is not in a happy shape. Miljevic is not going to let go of the BMW, but this could be a decent plan. If Miljevic can hold on to the back of the 74 car as it makes its way up the field, this could be a second place for him. Krisnich has lost out to Doyle in the early scrum, but now that he's got some heat in the tyres, is starting to push back up towards the back of the 85 BMW there. Much wider line on entry, it makes for a straighter line on exit. Clever driving by Eagle there. And it's just a case of being able to place the car in a position to make the most of the defensive driving of Doyle in front. It's very easy to overdrive the cars in both of these situations, both attacking and defending, as we see Krisnich almost do up on the outside curb of turn 5, and then through turn 6 he's starting to drop back. This is what we're talking about, overdriving the car. Drops back a half a second from a couple of mistakes, and not to forget the aero wash that will be affecting the cars as they get under a second gap. Doyle is, however, pushing in towards the 130 of Andy Brooker. That's not very nice of the BMW to put that dirty great big rear view mirror there. How are you supposed to watch the cars? There, let me see if I can find a better. Nope. There we go. To the outside goes the 85 car. Can he get the cutback, or will the Porsche have the straight line grip? Oh, that rear engine in the Porsche just lets it leap from the corners. So it doesn't really matter how slow the Porsche is on turn in. It can just leave the BMW for dead on corner exit. Bellato is it was pressuring the back of Jokic, trying to reclaim as Mex has dropped off the back of the field as well. Has dropped all the way back to Dunster. What has happened to that 886 car? the driver that was challenging, and oh, what is that? The number 7 of Miljevic. That's going to be a mounting of the inside curb at turn 4, I'm going to suggest. Just trying to review the footage and see what has caused that upset. Let's see what Krisnich is up to. He's closed in. But there is a lot of speed in that 85 BMW. Is there any chance that we can have a look and see what happened to that 886 car to push it so far down? Because he was doing really well. If they could be so bold. Thank you. So, what do we have? What do we have? What do we have? The number 3 car has fallen back such a long way and is suddenly falling into the grasp of Naida's Zach. This is not good, but they're all spacing out ever so slightly. Wuchek is leading the way in the AM class in the 228 car. But what is occurring up ahead? Doyle is within a second again of the Porsche, but it looks as though he's not able to get within half a second. Much like, so we have a replay for the 886 car. Let's see what has caused the issue. Up behind the 130, so really was pushing quite hard, went out wide, oh, got a massive wiggle on, and narrowly avoided contact. Oh, the car's clean at least. Oh, and then he had to spin. So in trying to overcorrect it, lost it in the end. He's going to burn out those tyres. Is he going to go around again? Oh, a safe rejoin, or as safe as you can get, gets off the racing line again. Yeah, so an unfortunate turn of events for the 886 car. That's what happens when you get under the rear wing of another car. Thank you very much to our other race director. I like this. This is awesome. Honestly. Zivkovic trying to put pressure on Dunster. This is all for Am. Let's talk about Dunster very quickly. David Dunster started at the back of the grid and was struggling for pace, but look at where he is now. Currently sitting 5th in Am class. Yes, under pressure from the Jaguar, but he's making positions up from other people's misfortune, and it's only by virtue he will have made up another position as well as Miljevic. Miljevic falls behind. So Dunster in the number 4 car making up positions. That's 4th place in AM now. It's not going to take a lot for the AM cars to really start to fall off the end of the field. Joe kick on the back of Tonsentitz. This isn't going to be an easy fight for the 74 car, much like we've been seeing between the 3 and the 85 further up the field. But Joe kick, even with that damage, I think might have a bit of pace to show if he's given an opportunity. If he doesn't mount the sausage curb on the inside of turn 3, is he going to go for it again? No, he gives it a wide berth through turn 4. They're all spreading out ever so slightly here. Krisnich is back up to within half a second of Doyle. Replay up and running again. Number 7 car has hit the wall again, apparently. So what has occurred here? He's coming through turn 5, gets up onto the curb. And then through turn 6, gets a wheelie on. Tries to correct it and fails, noses into the wall. A very, very unfortunate night for the Mercedes driver. Tries to spin up the rear wheels and digs even more into the tyre barrier. It really is a night to forget for that number 7 car. Into the pits for Jokic. He has decided that he cannot continue with that damage, and he's also losing time, but the pit window isn't open yet. So this is going to be this is going to throw the cat amongst the pigeons. He must think that he is losing so much time that he would be better off to pit and take the lot. That's an interesting choice. I personally wouldn't have done that at all. That's very difficult. Wucek leading the way now with Bellato in the 14 Lexus behind. He has a cushion to second place in the AM class. It has been all go in the AM cars tonight. Nidazak is closing up to the back of Igor Krisnich now. Krisnich looks like he has tried to have an attack on Aidan Doyle and has lost out. But now the 228. The 228 doesn't need to push here. Dakuza is in a different class. He has no need to make time pass. He could be saving fuel here. And with a comfortable lead up behind as well, this might be a bit of a red flag. I wonder if Wucek is doing that. He doesn't seem to be saving fuel, but perhaps just using the draft. And that is, oh my, that is Dijan Jokic coming out almost a lap behind the AM leader. A lot of work for Jokic to do. He's got the machinery to do it now, but he's definitely doing this the hard way. Definitely doing this the hard way. Nidazak in the 89 car. I did say Krisnich was having at risk of falling into the clutches of that black BMW, which has the left indicator on. It's the first time a BMW has ever been seen using its indicators. It might be hazards, actually. No, that is the left-hand indicator. So at some point, Nidazak has accidentally put the flasher on and is just going to leave it there. No reason not to, really. 4 minutes remain until the pit window opens. That's about 3 laps. Oh, and into the pits is the number 7 car. So is that to retire or repair? Or we can only find out. That looked like it was contact on the inside wall for Nidazak as well. That's unfortunate. Stop go. Stop plus 30 for Miljevic, I assume. For maybe actually assigned by the game. Stop plus 30 is not generally handed out unless it was a really, really big OPA by the number 7 driver, but that will be from track limits, so really a night to forget for Miljevic. Meanwhile, Wucek still up underneath the back of the 80 GTR, but it looks as though the rest of the pack has just fallen apart ever so slightly. I dare say they may have burnt a little bit too much fuel, and all of the drivers at the moment are just trying to, and that was Nidazak. So that corner was not okay, but all the previous ones were. What is interesting, however, is the 22 car isn't walking away in a way that we are used to seeing. It's only 3 seconds or so between himself and his teammate in the form of Matej Miksik. So the Pirate Racing Porsches, it must be in setup or in their driving style. But the 2 Pirate Racing Porsches leading the way once again. This does look ever so slightly familiar. I feel like we may have seen this before. But seeing Miksik running up there with the head of the field when last season he was an AM driver. I think that was last season. An AM driver and struggling to keep pace with the head of the Anfield. This has been a massive, massive improvement for Matej Miksic, and again Andy Brooker as well. For those of you with sensitivity to light, let's just give you a bit of a warning before the car goes broadside. That is a luminous yellow number 130 car. Andy Brooker withholding the pressure that Doyle keeps attempting to put on him, and just using the strengths of the Porsche to keep ahead in this early stage of the race. A minute left, so we will probably be seeing the strategy become quite opposing in the next minute or so. Who is in the opportune place to make a pit stop at the very earliest opportunity? Who's going to be in the right place on the track? Jump in, get their pit stop done, get out and use the clear air that will afford you to be able to set some fast laps on some fresh rubber. And what is this? Max putting pressure on Tontich. There is some pressure. It's going to be difficult for the 886 to make his way past the BMW in a straight line, but again, this is where the opportunity comes. No, it's 5 minutes. Out of the 25-minute mark, it's 10 minutes across the centre of the race. So, but still, this is the opportune place for him to be in, to be able to get that pit stop served as quick as possible. He would actually be absolutely spot on if it opened at 40 seconds. It really would. He really would. That would have been the ideal time. Now all he needs to do is try and do that again in 5 minutes time. If there's anything that I've missed, if there's anything that you see, remember the YouTube chat is open to you all. And we're ready and willing to answer your questions as well. Zivkovic has, I assume, has invalidated his lap somewhere. Lots of damage on that 68 Jaguar as well. So plenty of repairs to be done potentially for this pit stop round of pit stops coming up. Dennis Bellato for the ML3 Lexus is pressuring the 228 of Wojciech in the lead of AM class. I wonder if he is wanting to pressure him into the mistake. Doesn't make sense. It would make sense for the 228 to let the 14 car pass, but as to whether Wojciech will or not, he's not a name that I'm familiar with. No point in trying to block for the time being, and the straight line speed of the BMW just absolutely rinses the Lexus RCF GT3 car. Lots of images. We have a replay again for the 68 car. Race directors being incredibly on point tonight. Oh, is this going to be damage from the formation lap? Oh, so he's been carrying it. Zivkovic has been carrying this damage since the very start of the race, it looks like. Across the line they come. Did he avoid? He avoided the carnage, but just got on the brakes. It looks like a little bit too late. That's a massive punt up the back. So a messy start from the back of the field there. Lots and lots of damage, and lots of long pit stops. I think it's fair to say we might be seeing as Lexus tries to go around the outside, gets back on the track. He overtook off the track, but can you really blame him? Up the inside into the final hairpin. Lexus will get the power down, but that orange BMW is perhaps not fighting as feistily as he might. Yeah, the new Lexus GT3 prospect that is being touted by Toyota as coming potentially in 2023. Lots and lots of development going into that car compared to this RCF, which by Toyota's own admission was a road car that they modified to make it GT3 compliant, which is the point of GT3 arguably, but with cars like the M4, the Aston Martins, which are more or less purebred race cars at this point that have been adapted to fit the road, it does stand out like a bit of a sore thumb. Bellato back now with the rest of the pro field, and we saw how close the 228 was to D'Couza just now, so plenty of opportunity for Bellato in that 14 Lexus to make his way up the field. Those BMWs, it's very much a class war at the moment. The 3 Porsches leads the way. Doyle leads a train of 3 BMW M4 GT3 cars. And then it's just the rest of the pack, which are miscellaneous marks. Across the line for another time. Borovets still holds the fastest lap. Mikstick has now opened up to 4 seconds. Whoa! Big off in the background. Who was that has just absconded from the track? Oh, we lost a car. Who did we just lose? That was a very high-speed accident. I hope that the driver is okay.
This is race control. Car number 74 gets a 10-second time penalty for lap 1, turn 1 collision with car 89 and 7, with as well pushing off track. Car number 68 gets a 5-second time penalty for causing a collision with cars 80 and 228. 10 seconds for 74, 5 seconds for 68. Over.
Plenty of penalties then. So what happened here? Oh, the 74 car of Jokic has just, wow, ate the wall. Absolutely ate. That was an incredible... I think that might be a failure. With Miljevic struggling as well. The pit window's open now, so Miljevic at least will be able to make his way to the pits, and this will indeed count for his pit stop at least. That was I'm speechless. I hope that Jokic comes and says hi to us, because I would hate for that to be his last. I would hate for that to be his last showing in this race. That's not a nice way to go out. I do sincerely hope that he hasn't hurt himself in his rig with that incident. Leading the way at the moment then is Borovets, and again, this is where the strategy comes in. A minute and a half has elapsed. Doyle has pitted. The 89 of Nidazak has pitted and is rolling, with the other BMW close by. So they are going to fall relatively into traffic, but this early pit stop could well be the difference between, as you saw, the 85 just go through the beginning of shot. 89 trying to get warmth into the tyres. The red car goes across the screen at the top. That is Nidazak's target for him to try and make progress towards with these fresh tyres. It may not work out in the long run, but the front engine M4 is the car to make a tyre run work for sure. Miljevic has completed that repair work in record time, I must say, and has rejoined the race. He has very good spirit of endurance by Marko Miljevic to see him back out on the field. Zivkovic has a 5-second penalty to serve at his pit stop. That's absolutely fine. That will drop in. Stop-go penalty for Bellato. Looks like that's going to be... Ooh, that is speeding in the pit lane. He's earned that for. That will be assessed by the game. So Bellato, who was running so well and genuinely putting pressure on Mex in the 886, is now going to fall by the wayside with what is going to be a very, very difficult penalty to swallow. Wuchek in the AM car is promoted to 4th on strategy overall, but with those pit stops left to serve, it's going to be very, very difficult to see what happens. What's going on here? This is where the pack kind of spreads out ever so slightly. As replay of the pit entrance. So pit entrance it was that caused the error coming down through the final sector. Now let's try and keep an eye on that dashboard. Remember, there's a marker where the pit lane entrance is just there. Get down to the speed limit. Oh, he was well over. That was a good... Yep, 14 kilometers over the speed limit. So he would have known about that long before he actually... There you go, that's how you actually enter the pits. Thank you very much, Mundak. Appreciate that. Nidazak up behind the 80 of Dakuza. This is for position. So Dakuza has pulled a blinder on in the strategy to get ahead of the 89 car. On the brakes, this is going to be so difficult for Dakuza to keep Nidazak behind. Where even is the car? It's just black. As the rest of the cars begin to make their pit stops, this is where the strategy is really going to start to play out. The 89 car takes evasive action, trying to avoid the GTR in front, ever slightly braking himself. So Brooker is the leader of the cars who have made their pit stops. Doyle is 3 seconds in arrears. That is not undoable for the 85 BMW. Dakuza has pulled a blinder somewhere and has absolutely got that position on Nidazak on strategy. So very, very well done to Dakuza. Now all you need to do is defend and keep Nidazak behind you. Of all the tasks that I find most unenviable, that is absolutely top of my list of things that I don't want to do. Borovets to the pits. From the lead of the race, Tomsatic as well into the pits as well. Your incumbent leader is going through the inside of turn 1, and who was that in front? I thought I saw... Yeah, it's the number 4 car. So Dunster now almost a lap off the lead of the race. Through... Well, yeah, no, this is legitimate. To the leader, to the incumbent leader, he is almost a lap down now. Disqualified for the number 14 Lexus. So the number 14 car will take no further part in proceedings. There's an attrition rate that I'm not used to here from ISDA Racing. Nidazak still pressuring, got back up to the back of the number 80. and will have to try again. He's had one faint attempt at making a pass on the 80, but I think that was more avoiding than anything else. I don't think he was expecting the GTR to stop that early. Either that or the 89 didn't have quite as much grip in the tyres and brakes as he was expecting. One of those two things. As the lead is reaffirmed, Miksik is only 1.5 seconds from his teammate now. That is a massive, massive gap to have made up. All by the... oh no. As the 89 is under traction on the exit of that hairpin. The 14 was disqualified for not serving the stop-go 30 in under 3 laps. And welcome to racing, my friend. You break the rules, you get the punishment. There is undeniable speed in that BMW M4, but stuck up underneath the rear wing of the Nissan GTR, it's very, very difficult to see how Zach is going to make his way past. Remember, D'Acusa has gotten past this on strategy, so that 6th place is earned very, very cleverly, and I'm more than happy to see this battle go to the end as neither Zach tries desperately to make his way past what is a much, much older homologation car. It just goes to show how difficult racing is and how hard the drivers have to push when you're, oh, that was a big, big lunge on the curb. Oh, and that's going to be a touch against the wall. Not quite. Oh, he was very lucky to avoid damage there. Thankfully, no underfloor damage to worry about in ACC, but he might well give a little bit more breath to the inside of that corner now. Another fight between different homologations. Andy Brook on the defensive from Igor Krisnich. We've seen this battle before. Where has the 85 gone? It was Doyle who was in front before. He's 2 seconds behind, so plenty of positions changed through the pit stop strategy. I wonder if there was some damage on the 85 that had caused the problem. But into the corkscrew they go. Lapped Jaguar in front. Could cause issues for the Porsche. You have to drive in a very specific fashion to get speed out of those 911 Porsches. 912, I think. Oh, as the Jag dives in out of the way, but right across the path of the yellow Porsche. Jumps back into line to defend, to get on the racing line for the 85, but now the 85 is going to be balked off of the final corner. Very difficult for those being lapped on this track. It's just a lot of very, very square corners that cause issues. He's very close now. Is Krisnich. But just the braking sections aren't fierce enough to be able to make a decent dive of it. This is probably his best opportunity at the moment. The 130 goes defensive to the left-hand side of the road. Will stay in the centre going in to turn in. That'll slow him on the exit. Can the BMW get a cut back? He's going to have a look to the inside, but it's never going to happen through turn 6. Right underneath the bumper now. This is proper racing. BMW is dwarfing the Porsche. Takes a very, very different line as the Porsche comes up towards the corkscrew on the brakes. No passing going to happen through here. We've seen it done, but these guys are way more sensible than that. The 85 is creeping up behind as well. The Porsche on the defensive is trying to push the 85 back into its neighbour competitor to try and get the heat off of himself into the final corner. It's that speed off of the hairpin where we're seeing the Porsche be eminent and the BMW suffering ever so slightly with throttle application. Up and over the brow of the hill they come, down towards turn 2 is the Andretti hairpin peculiarly. Line astern they come, but that gap is coming down for the 85 car, clear of the Jaguar in the background. And now Krisnitz has to sit back, consider he's had one opportunity, he's had one attack that he has not been able to make happen, so he needs to get right underneath the rear spoiler of the Porsche. On the racing line, this could be the opportunity that he's looking for. Into turn 6, can he get better drive off of that dip out on the AstroTurf? They both are. The Porsche hangs out a little bit wider to hang a little bit more speed up on the brakes. This is nail-biting stuff. I would hate to be in that 130 car. Through the corkscrew they come, and that BMW is looking stable compared to the Porsche that just needs to have a little bit more of a breath between the brakes and the throttle. Andre is absolutely correct. Beautiful battle here for P3 as they come across the line again. I do think this is going to become a 3-car battle very soon, with Doyle coming up behind D'Couza. Somehow has fought off the attentions of Nida Zak in that 6th and 7th position. That's astonishing. Meanwhile, I don't know where to look. Wucek is pressuring Tonsatic for the lead of the race as well. Tonsatic has done his very best to get to the lead of the race. That 447 BMW has, again, he's done it on strategy. He's made it work in the pit stops and leapfrogged the 228 car, but now they are both very, very close as they come across the line. As is Krisnitz as well. Oh, the 447 goes very wide. The 22 up the inside, but the next corner's a right-hander, and the 447 has the inside line. But can the 228 get a cut back underneath? No, and another right-hander will cement the position for the time being. But this is absolutely game on as the battle for 3rd position gets even more fierce, as suddenly Doyle is looking as though he is getting into the fight. What can Wucek do for the lead of AM-Class here through turn 6? Can he get on the brakes up the top of the hill into the corkscrew? I don't think he's quite got the traction there. Line astern they come through the corkscrew and fall down the hill once again. Don't worry, we're keeping an eye on the split times for the fight for P3 as well, but this is just as fascinating a battle. The 2 BMWs, the only difference between these 2 cars is setup and driver, and he who is bravest on the throttle for sure. As it's all levelled out ever so slightly, perhaps a little bit too much tyre being used by the 228 there. Oh, as Krisnitz. Brooker went wide. Brooker went wide into the corkscrew, missed his braking point, and has just lost not just 3rd but 4th as well. The Porsche domination ends as a BMW makes its way onto the overall podium. And now what can Brooker do with the BMWs having made their way past? Another fight between 2 BMWs and the Wucek car. Looked very, very confident coming into turn 6, but just kind of loses it on the out. Whoa. As the 447 loses it on the throttle. There we go. The temperature might have changed and these tyres might not quite be working how we were expecting. 2 cars now having lost it in the corkscrew. So the lead goes back to where it seems as though it wanted to be, in the hands of Mundek Wucek. Wujek. Tonsic isn't going to give this up without a fight. It was only the tiniest of mistakes. Jokic trying to overtake behind a racetrack and go without penalty. Oh, I see. This isn't the place to be having that conversation, Dejan. If you want to come into the comm booth and have a chat about it, that's slightly better. But it's with the race stewards. That's not. I'm not a race steward. I'm not doing stewarding. I don't. Anything I say is just what I'm saying. It has nothing to do with the actual. The actual decisions that are being made, unfortunately. But the way that you went out was absolutely heartbreaking. Was that a system failure into turn 2 there? Oh, this is Krisnich now up the inside of the 130. How has that happened? So Krisnich has fallen over as well and is back in this fight. Is absolutely back in this fight. So the fight that was over 3rd place is now over 4th. Ah, that's really unfortunate. I understand the frustration. Trust me, I understand the frustration. But, yes. I would be careful what you say and where you say it. Krisnich now. Both of them seem to be struggling with their tyres. I wonder what's going on with that 130 Porsche. The speed that was so present in the early stages of the race seems to have eluded Brooker in these later stages. The track has gotten a degree or two warmer. I don't think that should give... I hesitate to say that it should have that much of an impact. Honestly, I do not know. Borovets is running out on his own as... Oh, is that the number 4 car? Yes, Dunster got it all wrong. There we go, that's absolutely fine. I saw a Pirate Racing car and had an absolute heart attack. I wonder what is... Let's jump on board with Borovets and see what's going on in the cockpit of that 22 car. Not so much focused on the lap this time, but let's see what's going on. It does look as though now the sun has gotten to the track, there is at least a slight performance hit that has affected all of the drivers. There is, interestingly, there's a lot of neutral steering going on with that 22 Porsche. Yeah, I think that we're all cooking our tyres a little bit here. Just trying to see. It's a difficult one. It's a very, very difficult one. Let's take advantage of the dash cam that we have here. Oh, and this is one of the best opportunities he's had so far for the BMW, but he's going to get pushed onto the gravel. He wasn't pushed onto the gravel. Side by side, they come through the corkscrew. I can't believe this is how this is happening. BMW, lots of space being given by both of them. The netcode is being very kind to these cars. But it looks as though that Porsche just hasn't got the rear traction that it had earlier in the race. Very, very unfortunate. But Mex is now closing in on the back of the 89 of Naidazak as well, just getting to within a second. This is a much more important and much more scary battle as the number 3 car loses its braking ability going in through turn 1, or perhaps was trying to go around the wide line to get a better exit, but that is All of this is so tooth and nail. Trying to get the best out of the cars, leaving millimeters between those awful sausage curbs that which we've seen can cause so much issue for the cars if you hit them incorrectly. The 130 going very, very conservative. It looks like through turn 5. But up into the corkscrew again. This is where we saw them go side by side just now, with a lot of space being given both ways. That'll be confidence inspiring for Igor in the chasing car, and it'll be even more confidence inspiring for the 130 of Brooker, knowing that you can trust the drivers that you're around. You can then start to race wheel to wheel. As he looks one way, he doesn't look back another into the hairpin here. He's going to wait and sit behind and hope that the high speed benefit of the BMW can make it work. It doesn't look as though he can at the moment. Coming down in towards turn 1. And out again. That it's not going to happen for the time being. This is terrifying. Mattia Meggs, the 886 car on the back of the 89 as well now. Oh, this is wonderful. This is a good old-fashioned DTM brawl, if you've ever seen it. The AMG GT3 versus the M4 GT3. Remember, these two cars are from entirely different homologations, different years, different speeds, different balance of performance, but they are living side by side on this racetrack. Good evening, Kalle Rovanperä. Wait, no. That's a rally driver. As that's the 4 car off in the background, isn't it? Meggs now right underneath the bumper of the 89 car. What can he do now that he's there? How good is that low slung and long Mercedes? Where is the strength in that 886 car? Chris Nitch too, now coming in towards turn 1. He's going to try and turn 2, going to try and go around the outside, but the 130 has got. This is what he was trying to do earlier. Use the straight line speed of the BMW up at that top end. That's where the Porsche falls away. But he just can't do it, and that attempt has pushed him further and further back from the Porsche. Let's jump back to a battle that is chasing only. Yes, I like Kalle Rovanperä. He's a very, very good rally driver, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I'm a rally fan as well. So, but the 886, that's a very interesting line by the 886 car. Let's actually jump on board, see if we can. Oh, that's not a good camera angle to have for the 886. Let's see what's going on in this Mercedes. He's taking a very narrow line, defensive driving from the 89 car, which is good to see as always, into the corkscrew. However, that Mercedes is looking so much more comfortable than the 89 BMW in front, and is just able to get back to the entrance for the there we go, defensive line being taken by the 89. This is make or break. 89 is going to have to slow up massively on the inside, but can the straight line speed of BMW? The Mercedes gets back underneath the toe. What can he do? The 89 car, scene of an accident earlier in the race, is going to stay on the racing line this time. Blocks to the inside. A6 is forced out wide. There is a cutback potential here for the 886, but doesn't quite have the power. Too much power, in fact. With the traction control, takes a wider line in through turn 4. What's going on for the battle over 4th position as well? They are super, super tight as well. It's going to take a breath for just a second. So let's see what's going on in this battle for 4th position. The last of the Pro Porsches is under pressure from the second of the Pro BMWs. 130 goes defensive in the braking zone. That's very, very confident from the 130 driver in his car, but it's not going to help his exit speed as the BMW gets up underneath the rear wing. It's close as anything as they come down into turn 10 up on the inside. Porsche goes defensive. We've just seen this with the 89. The difference is that the 89 had the advantage of the straight line speed. The 130 parks it on the apex. You saw the 3 car having to check up at the apex of the final corner. And on the brakes, he tries again around the outside into turn 1. This looks like it could be more opportunistic, but again, the 130 of Andy Brooker parks it in just the right place. He must be getting frustrated now. The 130 is hurting their own race now to keep the BMW behind. You can't be angry at Andy Brooker here. He is driving the wheels off that Porsche to keep that 4th position. Incredible showing from the 130 driver. I did see, I think it was the team was B13. Yeah. We don't talk about Formula 1 when we're commentating on GT3 racing because GT3 racing is much better. As we can see from this current battle, actually we've got 2 battles going on at the moment. Mercedes versus BMW. Once again, the Mercedes right up underneath the rear wing as close as you can get. Plenty of traction from that Mercedes. 89 comes back across to block on the brakes. That may have been a bit of swerve too much for the 89. Got a little bit unsettled into the corkscrew. But now, what can the 886 do to actually complete the pass? The BMW has the speed, doesn't think about going defensive on the brakes. A wide line taken by the Mercedes to try and get the traction on corner exit across the line. We've got 5 more minutes of this insanity. The 886 now up underneath the spoiler of the 89, goes out wide. The 89 car goes defensive, middle of the track. Both of them will basically outbrake themselves, end up on the same racing line. The 886 so close, but just can't do anything about the big black BMW in front. Or can he, in between 3 and 4? So close on the exit. The BMW goes off to the outside. They're now side by side, but now the 886 has the inside for turn 5. What a fantastic maneuver. That maneuver was 3-4 corners in the making, and an acre of experience that caused the Mercedes of Mex to be able to put him in a position to take that position back from the 89 car. What an overtake. As Manny says, oh my goodness, the show that we've been given tonight, the talent behind the wheel of these drivers. I cannot put into words how jealous I am. I really can't. It looks as though Krisnich has given up to an extent, but if there's such a thing as giving up, he's applying a little pressure, just a little surface pressure to the Porsche for the time being. He's there if Andy makes a mistake. Oh, but it's Brooker that it's Igor that's losing out at the moment, given his current positioning. I dare say he may have used up what's left in that BMW. He's trying to maintain pace, but I don't think there's much speed left in those tyres. He's made them last as long as he can. He's still under a second, so there's still plenty of time to be able to turn up the wick one last time for a big push and dive towards that 4th position. Important points being given and taken here in these closing stages of the race. How is the lead that Mex has over Nizak now? 3 seconds. That's been an incredible duel by the 886 and the 89. Incredible trust and driving skill from all concerned, and I think those tyres are well and truly gone. for the BMW. What about, with 2 minutes left to go, what about the B13 car of Andy Brooker? Started third position, lost a position to the 85 of Andy Doyle early in the race, but has held on and withstood the pressure of so much more horsepower and balance and performance than he really has any right to. An outstanding performance for that banana yellow Porsche, and it's almost unfortunate that he's going to miss out on a podium for what has been a very, very hard fought for round of points, but he is coming back. He's made up. We have about a lap to go, Andy. Please don't do this. He's made up over a second in a lap. Have the BMWs just burnt their tyres out? Can Andy Brooker pull in 2 seconds? He's already down. Oh my goodness. Where is this I would say, where has this performance come from? I don't think that the performance has come from Andy Brooker. I think that the BMWs have used up all their tyres. We must be on the final lap by now. No, we're going to have one more. We're going to have one more lap. Oh my goodness. So for the penultimate time, Philippe Barvets will come around turn 10. And he really has, as he has throughout the majority of this season, led by example. An incredible display once again of Philippe Barvets of leading from the front, controlling the field, and absolutely making the most of the car that he has. The final lap begins for Philippe Barvets, but all eyes will be on the 130 car. Can Andy Brooker climb to the back of the 85 car? I think that perhaps Doyle has gotten the message and was saving the car for the final race. White flag comes out, and if Andy Brooker had been leading the race, that would have been very close to being the checkered flag. But into the first corner they come. It's 4/10. It's not going to be enough as it stands, but what life is left in that 85 BMW. This, I wrote off the podium position for Andy Brooker. This could still well be on if he can just hold it together and get that position back from the 85 car. Into turn 5 for the final time. The 130 car stuck to the road, not even using the curb on the outside as they come up towards the kink at turn 6. The gap is down to 1.3 seconds. Through the kink at turn 6 using the AstroTurf on the outside. No problem there. It hasn't been raining. You want to avoid that stuff when it's wet. On the brakes into the Corkscrew. Are we just going to run out of time for the Porsche? He's gotten it down to almost a second. What a display in the closing stage of this race. It's such a shame there wasn't another lap to see what Andy Brooker could have done if he had got back up to the back of the 85 car. As it stands, unless he runs out of fuel coming down the start-finish straight, it is going to be the 85 car of Aidan Doyle who gets to that final step of the podium. But Andy Brooker to 4th position in the 130 Porsche. What a showing. Absolutely incredible. Do we get donuts? I dare say, do we get donuts? We get donuts from the number 3 car. I don't know how much that was intended though, as the track falls ever so slightly silent for us for a moment, using our lovely drone camera to appreciate the cars coming across the line, and it will be, there we go. Philippe Barvets will take the win. Mixic will take home 2nd position. Aidan Doyle will end the race in third position. Brooker narrowly missing out on that third position in the end. 9/10 down from around 3 with 5 laps or so to go. Krisnich in the number 3 car. I hear donuts. I don't see donuts. It's really unfortunate I don't see donuts. Oh well. D'Couza will finish in 6th. Mex in 7th. Neither Zach will finish in the end in 8th. Unfortunate for him. Wucek will take home the AM class win. Tonsatic will take home the 447. In 2nd, Dunster will finish out the AM class in 3rd position. From the back of the field to 3rd position overall. What a drive from David Dunster. Zivkovic and Miljevic and Jokic will play out the rest of the field, and just in case we want to appreciate that for what it was, there we go, your finishers. And I think it's fairly certain that the Pirate Racing Porsches have really sealed this championship up. Has been an excellent race. Really unfortunate to see Bellato disqualified on what was very much a technical issue. Let's have a look back at some of the highlights of the race. Not even before we got to turn 1, that incident over the pit entrance causing lots of issues, bumping and barging through the early stages of the race. Very, very difficult for everyone to keep in line. But sounding incredible all the while. Let's just turn that down a little bit as we wait for the drivers to come for their post-race interviews. I would like to see and hear some drivers. No, he hasn't come in to say yet. Come on. I wonder if I can just steal him. I might just try and steal him. Nope, I can't steal him from there. That's a shame. Please, 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 gents, come and say hello to me. End of racing now, but this is where we start to have conversations with the drivers and really appreciate just how complicated this race has been for some people. There was plenty of fighting up and down the field, and those pit stops, as always, throwing the cat amongst the pigeons. The gaps were opening up prior to the pit stops, but for some reason there was some kind of strategy that some people had picked up on that others hadn't. Again, that 74 car of Jokic being very aggressive tonight. But a very well-earned position made there. I would love to see. We will. This is the man one of the men that we want to speak to. Actually, 2 of the men as well. We will invite Filip Borovets and Maciej Miksik to the Combox, the Pirate Racing Porsches, who ended up taking the win at the end of the day. It was a fairly quiet race, I will say that tentatively, for you both tonight, gents. How was it from the cockpits?
First of all, hello, Eikesky.
Hello.
Hello, everybody. Yeah. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm fine. I didn't lose my voice this time, so I'll take that for all the win that it's worth, and lose my voice in about 10 minutes' time. It's lovely. It's lovely hearing your voices again.
Thanks, man.
You.
I'll let Matej speak.
Why?
How was the race from your perspective? You were under a lot more pressure than Filip, I think.
Yeah, I was trying to catch him, and then I made stupid mistakes and almost crashed a few times, but it was fun.
I had a spin too, so he could have won the race.
See, that's...
Yeah.
So... How is Laguna Seca for the Porsches? Because there was a lot of talk pre-race saying that the Porsches are broken, this is a Porsche track, etc, etc. from what I saw, other than obviously you were fastest, I don't think that that's necessarily true. The consistency was very much with the front engine cars today.
Well, I think that it's true. The Porsche is a bit too fast here. I don't see a car that can be competitive next to the Porsche here. So it's really, really fast.
And agile, you can get into the corners and press the throttle all the way down, and you just exit the corner like a rocket.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah, so it's not fair. But I mean, you know, there are other tracks where Porsche is not so good. So, but this season, actually, I was looking at the races. I think the Porsche is maybe the best car for the season.
Yeah.
So
it's interesting that you say that. I have my opinions about the BMW M4 GT3, but we won't talk about that now. They are very, very popular. They have become popular in the latter stages of this series. What do you think is the reason for that? If the Porsches are the faster cars?
I think the Porsche as a car is one of the fastest cars. When you take into account all the tracks in the game, there are a few tracks where it's not so good, but I think it's really hard to drive it. It's easy to crash the car, really easy, because it's, I don't know, illogical, I would say. And the BMW is close to the Porsche with the base, but I think it's a bit easier to drive, so it's popular. I mean, you really have to take a year, I think, to learn the Porsche and to be able to drive it fast.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. It's all the wrong way around. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you managed to keep them in check, and a couple of spins. Regardless, you managed to take the end, of the race and take the win. Are we going to see you sticking with the Porsches for seasons to come, or are you going to stray away and we might see that Pirate Racing livery on other cars?
I'm actually not sure. We might try another car next season, but actually I really don't know how to drive other cars. That's my biggest problem. So I'm around 2 seconds slower in anything other than Porsche.
Ouch. Okay, no, that's fair. I understand why you might want to stick with the Porsche then. I totally understand that. Well, there's only one more round to the championship. I think it's fair to say that the championship was well and truly won and sewn up at this point.
Yeah, I think so. And the Porsche is good at Kailami too, so
yes,
we'll see.
It's going to be a fantastic race. I sincerely hope that you have the best of races out there. It's a wonderful, wonderful track. I'd never get bored of commentating over that. Hopefully,
my favorite.
Hopefully, you'll have Tim back for that one. You never know. But he's had issues tonight. But gents, as always, it's a pleasure to have you in the combox. It's a pleasure to have you on track. Keep it up. You guys are just really the most fun to have on track.
Thanks, Ike.
You have a lovely evening, guys. We'll catch you in a bit.
You too. Bye-bye.
Yeah, see you. Enjoy. Bye.
And into the combox as well, we do have a certain Mr. David Dunster, who... a bit of a roller coaster of emotions for yourself tonight. You got a lot of talking up on the stream tonight.
Yeah, it was very, very good race.
Yes.
I mean, I was on the podium at last.
Yeah, absolutely. And a difficult start to the race as well. Qualifying not going your way. Unfortunately, trying to keep track of all the cars going around. We didn't manage to see too much of you, but the Porsche not quite behaving in the qualifying.
Yeah, like Philip said, they will stick with the Porsche. I'm with their team, so I'm driving their setup, so I have to stick with the Porsche. So maybe I have to practice more.
Yeah, we did actually have we had Philippe and Matej in here just now, and I think it was Philippe said you need a year to be able to get up to speed with the Porsche, and then by the time you've done that, you can't drive anything else.
Yeah, but it's a very nice car to drive. I mean, I'm amateur class, so I drive for fun. Some people are a little bit annoyed by that, but I can't help them.
Yeah, no, of course. But as you say, you're in the AM class. You managed to get the podium tonight. And yeah, absolutely got. You're going to be able to take points home from that. It's behind the BMWs. It seemed as though it was always going to be an insurmountable mountain to climb.
I mean, as long it's fun, then we're gonna race. There were some problems in the start with the crash. Some people were rejoining and they didn't respect us that were left on the track. So that that got my nerves going. But then I settled down and just drove.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the way to go. That is absolutely the way to go. But a third place tonight, finally getting on that podium, and all in time for the final round of the championship. So hopefully the Porsche starts to treat you a little better in the.
This track is the roller coaster track, so it was a little bit funny to drive.
Kailami too is a little bit of a roller coaster as well. So if all goes according to plan, you should be up on the podium next week as well.
Yeah, we were driving Kailami more than this, so I think I'll be better there.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. It'll be awesome to see. Awesome to see. You have a lovely evening, Dave, and we'll see you next week out. Back in the Porsche.
Thank you for your time.
No,
and see you next week.
Thank you for yours and for the excellent driving as well. Have a lovely evening, mate.
Bye-bye. You too.
Into the combox now, we have a Radijet whose name I once again can't for the life of me remember. Evening, mate. Oh, is he actually there? I think he might be AFK. We will drag him out just for a second, give him an opportunity to get back to the keyboard, and we will invite a certain Mr. Andy Brooker, who I'm sure you are absolutely over the moon with that race today.
Yes, I am. Oh, mate. Yeah, loving it. Disappointed to lose P3, but mate, if you'd have said before the race I'd be a P4, I would have beat your hand off. Yeah, loving it.
Yeah,
good battle, Nick as well.
Yeah, man. No, Eagles. I'm actually remarked side by side through the corkscrew, for goodness sake. I mean, who does that?
I think I lost it on the lap before there as well.
Yeah, no, you outbraked yourself. You outbraked yourself at some point. But yes, that was what a race. And then it seemed as though Igor enjoyed your battle so much over third position, he kind of threw it off the track so that he could do it all over again. Man,
it was great fun. I'm really sweating like mad, but yeah.
How's the Porsche treating you in these conditions then?
It's scary, sketchy, but I'm getting used to it. It seems.
Yeah, it's awesome to hear. And obviously, from where I last spoke to you when you were in the AM class and struggling to see where you are now, just what a transformation it's been in your pace and in your driving. So first off, congratulations, very well done, sir.
Thank you.
I'm astonished, and it gives me hope that I might actually be able to play this game at some point. But yes,
I can do it. I'm sure anyone can.
I don't know. There is something about all the gear and no idea and that sort of thing. But yeah. But Anyway, I just wanted to have you in very quickly to say to you in person, congratulations, you need to watch the replay back, because you, my friend, and Igor both put on an absolute show for us tonight.
Brilliant. I love watching it back. I love watching it back every week.
Awesome.
Even if I'm not on it, it's just, love it.
Thank you so much for being the star of the show tonight, though. That Porsche, it was, I tell you what, you were taking chunks of time out of Doyle come the final race. I was praying for another couple of laps. I really was.
Yeah, I saw the gap coming down, but I don't know if he was just taking it easy because he knew he had just a lap to go.
Yeah, that's the problem, is it? Or because the thing is that you walked away from about 5-6 laps to go. You just started walking away from the BMW, the number 3 Igor.
Yeah, it did start to pull away a little bit. Yeah.
Like no, you were pacing away, and you started walking up to the 85 as well. It is my Luddite suggestion that perhaps the BMWs both used all of their brakes, all of their tyres.
Possibly, yeah.
And just ran out of tyre, and you'd looked after it a little bit more.
Possibly. That BMW was closing up so much on the brakes, it was scaring the life out of me.
Tell me about it. You're scaring the life out of me, and I'm just watching. It was terrifying. You, sir, put up a defence worthy of Jarno Trulli. Absolutely. What an incredible drive tonight. It really was good.
Thank you.
But you go off and have enjoy your night. I'm sure you're over the moon with that finish as well.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch that. And just a shout out to Chris in it, because I think he had braked himself at one point and he let me back through. So yeah, fair play to him.
Yeah, no, Igor's an excellent driver. I could have told you before the race that you're going to have a lot of fun with him, but yeah, no, it's great to see it actually come to fruition, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Cheers, and thanks to obviously all you guys and
the
guys back there doing the stewarding. Awesome job. I love it.
Yeah, it makes the racing so much better, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
Just having that eternal threat of a hammer, just like, no, bad racing driver.
Yeah.
Andy, as always, it's a pleasure to speak to you, mate. Have a lovely evening,
Ike.
and we'll speak to you next time. All right.
You too. Take care.
Cheers, mate.
See ya.
Bye. We will try one more time to have our Adjet into the combox. Are you there, mate?
Hello.
Hello.
Good evening.
I can't for the life of me remember your Discord to real name now.
Yeah.
What was your name? Sorry.
Radoslav, driver of the Jaguar.
Jaguar. Yes. Zivkovic. Oh yes, duh.
Yep.
Yes. See, that's what happens when you have a really bad memory. A bit of a difficult evening for yourself in the 68 car then. What was going on there?
This was the worst track for the Jag that I drove ever.
Really? What was?
Yeah, he's trying to kill me on every corner. It's very bumpy for that old school suspension that Jag have.
Ah, okay.
It's very, very, very difficult to drive and stay on the track.
Well, that explains all the incidents that you had, but you stuck with it till the end.
Yeah, stuck with
which is applause worthy for sure, because I dread to think how hard it must have been to be circulating around, knowing how difficult it was, and every time you got round to the corkscrew, it must have been the seat of your pants kind of feeling.
Yeah, awful, very awful.
But
when some faster cars came to me, it was just starting to get more difficult.
Yeah, of course. With all the aero effects and everything else, I really do commiserate with you tonight. But there is one more round to go. It's Kailami, and that is a slightly different track to Laguna Seca, I think.
Yeah. It will be better result than this one. This one was a disaster.
Yeah.
Just waiting to finish it.
That'd be awesome to see.
Until time run out.
It really will be good to see.
Yeah.
Mate, have a lovely evening. It's awesome to have you in the combox, and hopefully we'll see you have, as you say, a much better result next week. Well done for sticking to the end tonight.
Thank you.
Have a lovely
Good
evening,
night.
mate. See ya.
Bye.
Oh, I cut it off, damn it. And with the highlights running in the background, thank you very much to Yankers in the combox with me tonight. Do you want to say any words, or are you going to be fully silent tonight? A round of applause, please, if we can, for our crew and our staff members tonight, because they have done an absolute stormer of a job to make everything run so smoothly tonight. As I say, Yankers has done the job of a legend looking at all of the replays tonight, and it makes it so good. I'm looking forward massively to watching this back as well. As always, this is community driven. If you want to get involved with ISDA at any point in the future, be sure to check the description, get in the links, get involved, get joined up to Discord, and you never know, maybe next time it will be you that I'm speaking to at the end of the race after you have completed your first ISDA race and maybe even got a podium. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, my name has been Eikesky, and we will speak to you all again very, very soon. Next week, next time out at Kailami from Johannesburg to finish out this incredible season. A very good evening to you all from wherever you are in the world, and good night.